Penguin Random House Audio presents A House for Alice by Diana Evans. Read for you by Natalie Simpson.
Where is my rest place, Jesus? Where is my harbour? Where is the pillow I will not have to pay for, and the window I can look from that frames my life? Derek Walcott, The Schooner Flight. Part 1. Chapter 1. Cornelius Winston Pitt, in the evening of his life, eyebrows white and wild, eyesight dysfunctional, moved with a dancey small-foot shuffle along his hallway, holding a pork pie. In the other hand was a cigarette, shedding ash onto his route, over the slip mat, into the kitchen, where, pausing, he became freshly alarmed at the absence of his wife. An absence he felt most strongly in this room, its floor still sounding of her slippers, its toaster still evocative of her sadly buttered crusts. Where was she? Then he remembered. Kilburn. Was glad that he remembered, a whole, crisp name. No chops any more in this kitchen, no rice being extremely complex, no Sunday chicken. Here in this land of the late and alone, the menu was condensed. A pork pie was enough for a man. Only it needed beetroot. Yes, that was why he was here. He opened the fridge immediately so that beetroot would not disappear again inside its name, immediately being relative to his particular nonagenarian physicality. A moment of slight forward falling, the grabbing of the low-down handle, the hall posing threats to his spine. Inside was a hollow ice cave, mist. There was milk in the mist, and a tomato, also good with pork pie. 2 meals in foil from a daughter to the north, butter, and the purple thing. He took it out, the cigarette now balanced on his lower lip, getting smoke in his eye, the one that worked, so he closed it, couldn't see anything, opened it again, and was struck by another requirement round and flat in his mind, and useful for carrying food. The fridge he left ajar in this new venture, reaching up to the cupboard for a plate. Words were occasional boats, some time-ish, coming at him brightly sailed, then passing by. What Cornelius was learning was that they are not always necessary. Abstraction is peaceful, like twilight, wide swimming in a quiet colour, and you can exist in a place without names, where nothing is labelled, nothing flaunts itself, but instead the words wait, so quietly, for a time like this when you become in need of a... Yes. Beetroot is wet. It slopped around the pork pie on the dance he shuffled back to the chair, a primordial green throne of once abject patriarchy positioned in the living room directly in front of the TV, where Cornelius spent most of his waking hours on this, the ground floor of the house of many clocks. Around the chair were the apparatus of his daily proceedings. The table in front, individual-sized, for 1 eater, 1 smoker, 1 controller of remote control. Underneath the table, the leather puff for raising of feet when desired. To the left, the dustbin, now half full, mainly with discarded post-its containing the names of fleetingly essential objects. WD-40, battery, sharpener. Adele, his daughter. And a shelf, also to his left, for beer coasters, glasses repair tools, and the telephone, his conduit to the outside. Beyond all of this, there were the clocks. Everywhere, in every room, grandfathers, carriages, cuckoos, pendulums, collected over the course of his long working life in horology. The house ticked and tocked constantly. At 4 o'clock today, it was Tuesday, sweltering, swollen at the windows, the sick gold of a 21st century June, he must call the tax office to find out about the implications of the recent changes to inheritance tax charges that might affect his will. The reminder was provided on one of the table's current post-its, phone number included. It was incumbent upon him, he felt, as he neared the milestone of a century, which of course would come with a congratulatory card from the Queen, to make sure his financial affairs were in order, what with the grandchildren and his wife, who was still his wife, as far as money was concerned, and then the daughters and their wayward ways through the arts, Buddhism, breakups, and vegan behavior. Money is messy, and at the end of a century it should be neat, a nice scout's knot, not flailing around like a raging octopus. He wanted to go neatly, like his father, himself a horologist, who had died at exactly 100, proudly in receipt of the royal note, leaving his family with only their grief to face, not an ensuing feud brought on by fiscal carelessness. Before that, though, was this very adequate pork beet lunch, which did travel onto his shirt due to the additional forgetting of the floppy thing for residue that is called a serviette. Then there were ash streaks from the post-prandial smoke that didn't find the ashtray in time because he was watching a repeat of Natasha Kaplinsky on Who Do You Think You Are? He loved Natasha Kaplinsky. She was his favourite newsreader, always so well-dressed and neat, always well-powdered and matte. He'd missed her when she'd left ITN, had watched her on Strictly, Have I Got News for You, wherever she popped up. It was a shame she'd chosen to prioritise her family now, but he understood that she probably had lots of ironing and washing to do while her husband was at work. Right in the middle of the show, annoyingly sending more ash onto his trousers as it made him jump, the phone rang. Why did it ring at the most inconvenient moments when he was busy? Why couldn't the world just leave him alone to enjoy the freedom of his retirement, earned over more than 50 years of solid work, dutiful family providing for, tax-paying, and pension contributions? "Hello?" he shouted. "Hi, Dad. It's Adele." "Who?" "Adele," she said more slowly, though still sounding rushed. A boat sailed in, displaying her hexiety. Eldest, visits too much, bit of a nag, eats meat, he thinks. "Ah, right," he said. "Don't forget the carers are coming at 5. And remember the dinner's in the fridge in the foil. Just put it straight in the oven, no need to take off the foil, and don't forget to turn off the oven afterwards. Did you have one last night?" "I've had a pork pie," he said. "When, last night?" "No, just now." "Did you have one of the foil dinners last night?" "Oh, it doesn't matter. I've got to go. I'm still at work. Carers at 5, okay? They'll help you with the dinner. Just show them it, in the fridge, in the foil. I'll come round tomorrow." He would like to say it would be all right if she damn well didn't come round tomorrow, seeing as the carers, those pointless people, were coming today, and that would be too much visiting. He preferred it when they were more widely staggered. But he didn't want to be rude. She was doing what she thought she was supposed to do. Actually, Cornelius had envisaged his old age in a home, sitting in a large lounge with light falling in, and the other aged around him, knitting, watching, waiting, drooling and playing drafts. But when it came to it, the thought had seemed unattractive. What about his clocks? Where would he put them? The house was moulded around him. It was the shape of him. Moving somewhere else would be like trying to pour himself into another shape, and at his time of life, he lacked the liquidity to be poured. He would have to die here, and that was fine with him. He just wished people didn't feel it was their responsibility to manage him and bother. That was the reason, he remembered, for scheduling the tax call for 4 o'clock, to catch the afternoon lull before the busy lead-up to closing time, and because the carers were coming at 5, also stated on a post-it. He enjoyed the last few minutes of Natasha, and with infallible timing, the grandfather clock in the hallway chimed 4, a loud, reverberating gong, singing the hours, which after years of hearing he often easily slept through, unless there was some appointment to keep that his subconscious was alert to. Likewise in the kitchen went the cuckoo. He tipped his ash, drained his stone-cold tea, and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?